Okay, let's continue about atelectrauma. So the best way to prevent atelectrauma is preventing this alveolus here at the end of inspiration from becoming atelectatic like this at the end of expiration. We want to prevent that. How? Before that, let me explain two terms here for you. There is something called opening pressure and closing pressure. Opening pressure is the pressure needed for an already collapsed alveoli, atelectatic alveoli, to open it again, to get it from this to this. And closing pressure is to prevent an already opened alveoli from becoming atelectatic like this. That means to keep it open, and here to open it because it's closed. And as you can guess that the opening pressure is usually higher compared to the closing pressure. You need less pressure to keep an alveoli open compared to opening an already collapsed alveoli. So to prevent this from happening, you need to provide to the alveoli a closing pressure. If you provide a closing pressure to the alveoli that already open, you will prevent them from going from this stage here to this stage here, and then prevent atelectasis and minimize atelectrauma. So as you can, the best way to do it is to provide that closing pressure. But how? It's simple. By now, we repeated this so many times that the proximal airway pressure that's delivered by the ventilator gets transmitted to the alveoli. So because this happened during expiration, this issue at the end of inspiration going into expiration, if we provide a proximal airway pressure that gets to the alveoli that's equal to or more than the closing pressure, right, this will prevent this from happening. So how is that? Simply by providing the PEEP. Remember the PEEP? Go back and watch the video on the PEEP. Positive end expiratory pressure is providing a positive proximal airway pressure during expiration. By setting this PEEP at least equivalent or more the closing pressure, we prevent from that from happening. And usually we set the PEEP equivalent or bigger than plus 5 centimeter H2O, because we believe this 5 is equivalent to the closing pressure. So that way we prevent the already opened alveoli from collapsing and minimize atelectrauma. Another fancy term, we can call this de-recruitment. So by, I don't know if I can get it right, de-recruitment, basically preventing the alveolus from going from an open stage to a closing state or atelectatic state. But the PEEP usually less than the opening pressure. The opening pressure is getting a closed alveoli to an open alveoli, and the fancy term for this called recruitment. So usually from this you know that the PEEP mainly it's mainly to prevent de-recruitment, but it's not usually used for recruitment. For recruitment, you need a higher pressure than the closing pressure. You need a pressure equivalent to the opening pressure, and usually that's require way higher than the usual PEEP we use, and we'll talk about recruitment maneuvers. But to prevent atelectrauma, you need to provide adequate PEEP, at least 5, and sometimes in ARDS you need to go even higher than that because atelectrauma more pronounced in ARDS. So you'll see people on 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 of PEEP to minimize that. And that's how PEEP and going up on the PEEP helps oxygenation by preventing de-recruitment. Remember, to improve oxygenation, one of the facts, and we'll talk about that, is by increasing the PEEP because it prevents de-recruitment.